All right, now that you've got everything entered into your freedom plan, let's look at what it's actually telling you. This is where you start seeing what's working, what might need tweaking, and how close you are to a plan that truly works in real life. Let's open it up. When you open your 2-year freedom plan, your first goal is simple. Make sure your plan actually works and doesn't run out of cash. Running out of cash is what kills most businesses, so that's the number one thing we're solving for first. It's totally fine if some of your early months show red cash flow. That just means those months cost more than they earn. What you don't want is for your accumulated cash to go red at any point. That's a signal that your business runs out of money. So let's look at how to adjust things so your accumulated line stays in the green. Pro tip, if you ever make changes you don't like, just hit Control-Z or Command-Z on your computer to instantly undo it. It'll save you a lot of time. There are 5 main levers that you can test. Each one shifts the numbers in a different way, so play around until your plan starts holding steady in the green. The first lever is to add funds or runway. You can extend your runway by using any funds you already have access to, keeping another income source a little longer, or even taking out a small business loan. This helps your business grow without the pressure of being profitable right away. We can see in our example that we added our $2,000 available to us at the start, and it's really helping us in the first few months cover costs. If you want to play around and see if you need all of that, try changing the number to see what happens. Oh, we just went into the red. You can also play around with increasing the number, and then you'll know that you need more available funds before you get started. The second test you can do is to shift your start timeline. Try changing when you start paying yourself. Even waiting 1 or 2 months before you're taking draws can smooth out cash flow. In our example, we can see that we start taking out draws in month 2. But what happens if we actually wanted to start right away? I'm going to add a draw into month 1, and I can see that now my cumulative cash flow is going into the negative, so it's not going to work for my business. You can also play around with the amounts you take out each month, knowing that your goal is somewhere between the cost to cover your basic expenses and your goal income for that year. The third lever is increasing your clients or sales volume. Add a few more clients, sales, or projects to see how that changes things on your cash flow. If you do, remember to include any extra costs that come with them, like subcontractors, materials, or software. I can see that in my first few months, I don't have any cleanup or catch-up projects. But what if I added just one in the second month? Now I can see how that affects my whole cumulative cash flow. In my second month of business, I can see that I have a negative net cash flow for that month. So what happens if I add just one of my cleanup and catch-up projects in that month? Now, when I scroll down, I can see I have a positive cash flow, and it's making the rest of my months feel a little bit easier. You can play around with these numbers to see how the changes affect your cash flow, but don't forget to be realistic. You want these numbers to be something you can actually action on and be within that sales capacity you outlined in your workbook. The fourth lever is raise the value per client or sale. This might mean adding a premium option, bundling services, or improving your offer so the higher price feels natural. A small bump in value here can have a big difference. In my plan, if I go to my total cumulative cash flow for year 1, it's currently sitting at $640. But what happens if I adjust my monthly bookkeeping service from an average of $600 to just $700? I've added $100, and now I can scroll over and see what that did to my plan. Now my cumulative cash flow is $11,900. This makes it really simple to see how one small change plays out over the course of a year. Or maybe you want to run a promotional discount that gives all your clients 50% off. So instead of $700 as my average monthly, it's going to be $350, and I can see how that affects my cash flow. Now when I go to my cumulative cash, I can see that I am fully in the red every single month. So that's definitely not a decision I want to make for my business. And finally, the last lever is adjusting your costs. You can check both your fixed and per sale costs. Are there expenses you could delay or scale back temporarily without hurting the quality or client experience? In my example, I've budgeted $100 for advertising every month. But what happens if I change it to $50? The one small change every month, I can see how it plays out across my cash flow and changes my monthly numbers. Just remember to think through any potential secondary results of your decision. For example, if I cut my advertising budget in half, am I still going to be able to get the amount of clients I'm projecting to have? As you test these, watch the totals and the colors in your forecast. You'll quickly see what changes move the needle and which ones don't. Once you don't have any red in your cumulative cash flow, you have a plan that works. But let's try pushing it a little to see how strong it is. This isn't about predicting every scenario, it's about knowing your range. Ask yourself questions like, what happens if I grow half as fast as I expected? What if I grow faster? What if a few clients pause or there's some big expenses that pop up? We've also given you some scenarios in your workbook to try out in your plan so you can see exactly what happens. To make a solid plan, you don't have to pass every single test, but this is to help you gain an understanding of what kind of wiggle room you have and when your plan breaks. Notice when your plan starts turning red again, that's your breaking point. This will show you exactly how much flexibility you have before things get tight. It also shows you the upside, how quickly things can improve if growth goes a little bit better than expected. Once you've found a version of your plan that works on paper, you want to step back and ask yourself if it actually works for you. To hit those numbers, would you need to work hours that fit your life? Does the plan feel sustainable? Something you still want to be doing a year from now? If you had to adjust prices, add clients, or delay your start date to make the math work, does it still align with your personal goals from earlier? Your goal isn't just a plan that looks good, it's a plan that supports the life you actually want. When your plan is in the green, realistic for your life, and feels doable day to day, you have a plan that works. You've built something real, a business that's not just inspiring, but sustainable. Now you know exactly what it takes to make it happen, and you can move forward with confidence.